All right, hello and welcome to the final preseason game of the Season 4 preseason for the NAGA. Today we'll be watching the OKC Tornadoes taking on the SA Fighters. Of course, Ryan Davis, the new face for the San Antonio team. And as always, the OKC starters, Gilligan, Clark, and Edwards, with, of course, Gooden and Boykin returning at running back and wide receiver. The supercomputer has San Antonio with a 57% chance, and of course Dave and Danny taking OKC, Joe and James taking San Antonio. But of course every single game seems to be in the 20s and 30s, so this looks to be an interesting game. And of course this is the train depot where all our games are held outside of a possible situation where we're allowed to, flex some of the other stadiums, but for now it'll just be the train depot. And of course San Antonio will be receiving the ball. OKC Visconti will be kicking it away. And Boykin with the return. He'll be taken down shy of the 20. And they'll mark him down to 19, and this will be the first ever time that Ryan Davis will be taking a snap in a Fighter's jersey. He is number 3. Moving a couple of numbers around this offseason to accommodate his choice for number 3. As he motions Gooden out to the left. Empty backfield, back to pass. He's going to launch it immediately to the tight end McCloskey, but that is triple coverage. A 6'6" frame is not going to be able to outlast 3 other defenders in the area. Bit of an interesting take for San Antonio to start with the pass game, as they are a bit more of a run identity team. Davis now will motion the Boykin to the inside. Fake the handoff to the fullback. He has all day. There is a flag down, however, so this will probably be coming back, as he striped it down for a 45-yard gain. And no, it will not be. In fact, there's a holding against Tony Pickett, so Ryan Davis gets a massive completion. It'll be his second attempt. And of course, he's only shot big passes so far, so it'll be interesting to see how this team continues as he goes once again in the pass game. It's Calabrese, taken down by number 51. And of course, we'll go ahead look at some of these rosters that we have. OKC on the defensive side, and of course San Antonio on the offensive side. Davis now motions out. Gooden off to the left. Gooden with some space. Gain of 7 yards. Both these teams having some big moves throughout the offseason. OKC notoriously trading away all their picks during this trade as Davis back to pass. The O-line just holding up massively as Gooden gets a gain of 9 yards, 2nd and 1. And that's the biggest part about the offseason for San Antonio, acquiring Ryan Davis for next year's first and their left tackle Sean Bellamy and Tyler Weber. He, of course, as Gooden gets the handoff, stiff arms a man, taken down after a gain of 2. Was then immediately, as I apologize, that is Bronson now coming in. He was immediately shored up, protected. Omar Sharif, Jamal Johnson, Hunter Bush, but it is Curtis Swafford starting his position. Davis again, just a straight passing game continually. Sam Eckenrode, and of course, we have Caleb Shelton. Sam Eckenrode backed up by Chris O'Shea, a late free agency pickup for San Antonio, but nonetheless, San Antonio wanting to rely heavily on this run game. Bronson taken down and immediately loss of 1, so that'll be a 3rd and 8. And of course, the opposite of what San Antonio is used to, the pass game has been lights out instead of a couple first-time drops. As now the D-line will be encroachment, so now San Antonio will gain back 5 yards, so it's almost as if that play never happened. And of course, OKC on the opposite side going through on free agency, trying to pick up as many players as they can, most notably some of their linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers, kind of targeting all over the place. Didn't get some of them, got some of them though. But we'll of course go over those after this as Gooden off to the right, taken down, gain of 1, so it'll be 4th and 2. Never mind, they say it's just shy of the 2, so it'll be 4th and 3. Finn and Steele will come out. Go! And the kick is good from 23 yards. So go ahead we will hit up the transaction tab. I believe this should be it. Let's go ahead and try to tab this one out. Let's see. It's not there. Perhaps it is in the league news, where everything is. As Edwards takes the ball and taken down at the 17-yarder. Eventually, we will find all these players. Eventually, one day perhaps. Of course, we can look at who all did not return for OKC versus who returned. As, of course, we watch Gilligan under center. And if memory serves me correct, I believe it was a 100% return rate. It's Clark with the spin away. McDonough closing in. Gain of 1. And yes, that is correct. Every single player that was up for re-signing came back to OKC. OKC signed Tristan Bullock to a $10.6 million deal. So that is quite the hefty cap space to be giving to a safety. 6.1 to DT Pierre Celestine. Gilligan over the middle to Clark in a 5. So Clark, the do-it-all man here, as Kasim Garvin now comes in. And, of course, 5.1 for Ethan Simoneau. Strong safety, so that is $15.7 million in 2 strong safeties alone. So I do believe one of the safeties was turned over to a free safety as Garvin with a great catch and McDonough with the tackle. That'll be a gain of 8, first and 10. And, of course, we are trying out some new settings here. If that was not already stated before in previous games, we have a increased game time. So from 0.83 to 0.85, the speed increased. Play clock, wow, that was bad. From 17 to 24 or 25. And then, of course, we have injuries off. And I do believe substitution thresholds was turned up as Gilligan, wide open Turner. As that is now up from 70 to 85. So there will be a lot of subbing in and out as we head towards the second, third, and the fourth quarter, of course. Be interesting to see how these two teams align. As Clark taken down immediately by number 97. That's Deshaun Allen, the defensive tackle. More properly known as the nose tackle for San Antonio, since they do run a 3-4 majority of the time. Stogan once again hands off to Clark. Clark, ooh, nice evasion. McDonough there for the wrap-up, 3rd and 4. So OKC retaining all of their players, which was very helpful for them. Of course, once we are able to find this information of who all got who, I will definitely make sure that we go ahead and get that for you. Gilligan back to pass, launching a one-on-one coverage. Of course, that was swatted down. And that'll be the cornerback, Kenny Gatewood, for San Antonio to stop that 3rd and 4 conversion. So now they must punt. And OKC punting out inside the 20. So, of course, that always helps the punter. 1st and 10 of the 17 now. So San Antonio is starting basically the exact same way OKC started last drive. Davis now in the center, good in the backfield. No run yet. Davis swallowed up by the blitz, loss of 9. As Bullock is now here in the backfield, number 39, the defensive back. And of course, you go from a possible run-heavy situation to now it's 2nd and 19, and you almost got to pass this one. But of course, they trust Gooden, and trusting in Gooden does very well. As they gained 12 yards, normally a 1st down conversion, but of course, 2nd and 19 will do that to you. It's 3rd and 7. It's Ryan Davis motioning Bronson out to the right. Calabrese in the left. 4-man rush, 5-man rush onto the left. Calabrese will not be fast enough, so that will be a turnover after this punt, of course. So it'll be 4th and 5. They'll turn the ball over to OKC via punt. And of course, we'll see how this goes. Zachary McQueen with his first punt of the day after winning Punter of the Year for the Pacific. So Lisenby takes it up to 39. And slowly but surely, we will, of course, locate this offseason as Clark is taken down by Alonzo Douglas, number 9. San Antonio apparently looking more towards the issue of D-line and O-line really trying to solidify everything as he's back to pass. Gilligan take it down after a gain of 3, so now 3rd and 8. And of course, here we go. I've finally been able to locate it. Of course, there are separate stages, so everything is a bit different. But of course, once I get to all this and we get to the next drive, I will let you know as Clark sheds off a would-be tackle from Deshaun Allen. Taken down. Ronnie Elliott now in for Alonzo Douglas with the TFL. Apologies, not a TFL, but a tackle. But going 4th and 5, that might as well be a TFL if you have to punt it. So that's the end of the first quarter. San Antonio 3, OKC 0. And of course, this is the way OKC would like to play their games. Have the linebackers step up, make the big plays, and let the offense not have to worry about too much. That's the punt. That'll hit the 10, and that might go inside the end zone unless they're fast enough. And they are. So that'll be the first ever 1st and 10 inch in this game. San Antonio more than likely looking at a potential safety, which would be the oddest way for OKC to get their first points. Davis back to pass. He's got a man in his face. Throws it to Hamilton. Gain of 11. That's a 1st down. So now it's 1st and 10 at the 12. Of course, this pass-happy team seems to be enjoying the fact that Ryan Davis is their quarterback, as Calabrese gets the handoff for no gain. A bit of a unique play there. Davis hands off to Gooden. Gooden with lots of blocks, evades the tackler, pushing forward before horse collar down. That'll be 3rd and 1, no penalty. Axis football does not have a horse collar penalty. It's Davis under center, and of course the odd thing about all of this is Gooden gets just destroyed in the backfield despite breaking 2 tackles. It's a loss of 5. Is that San Antonio, of course, targeted run-heavy offensive linemen, trying to clear ways for Gooden and Bronson. But of course, this is a preseason game. Not many things will matter, so it appears that the OC is going for more of a pass-happy attack, trying to see what all they got in Ryan Davis. A lot of things they need to look into. How does he play? How does he perform? What's the chemistry like? A lot of these things will, of course, go into how they develop their play calling down in the future. Go! Gilligan back to pass, defender on his right. Scully with an incredible shoelace catch. Gain of 6, so 2nd and 4. And of course, I've been able to locate the Phase 1 signing, so we'll go ahead and get to that here soon as Gilligan motions the man out to the right. I do believe that is Turner. Gilligan hands off to Clark. Clark with room to run, avoiding 1 tackle, but taken down. And of course, as I said, they signed in the first phase defensive tackle Anferny Chalmers, right guard Josh Kane, and defensive tackle Jason Riley as Clark gets just swallowed up by McDonough. That'll be a TFL on an all blitz. So now OKC will once again attempt to pin San Antonio at the inch-yard line, which is very possible with the way their gunners go. Of course, this punter absolutely killing it. 4th and 2, now turned into a 1st and 10 at the 2. And San Antonio once again backed way up beyond where they want to be. It's Gooden now behind Davis. And now they will hand off to Gooden. Gooden with a lane, shovels off a man. Ooh. Number 23 with the game potentially saving tackle as low scoring as this is going. That could have possibly been 6 on 98 yards. Davis back to pass. 4-man rush. Got all day and then some. Hamilton once again of a gain of 5. Ramon Gooden back in for Devon Bronson. And of course, we're going to do both teams for the free agency signings to go ahead and get you guys all caught up on things. Gooden off to the left with major space. Absolutely stiff-arming a man and then some. Gain of 17 yards, 1st and 10. San Antonio signed 85 overall strong safety Kyrell Trotter for 5 years for $3.53, left guard Jabal Johnson, and left tackle Robert Dinsmore. One of these players, of course, being utilized up in the front end. Davis has all day, bit of scattery footsteps out there, throws the ball away. Had a man on the sideline, but Sometimes all you want from your quarterback is to go ahead and throw the ball away. Ryan Davis, 7 of 9 for 80 yards, something that San Antonio has been looking for ever since the end of Season 1. Gain of 7 yards by Gooden. Bronson, apologies, as Gooden will now come in, 3rd and 3. Tyler Weber notorious at San Antonio's time for being very inconsistent. However, it must be known that Tyler Weber is more of an air raid type of person. He likes to go ahead and get the passing in. Oh my goodness, what a rally tackle by OKC. Absolutely stopping what should have been an automatic first down in any other case. The rallies to tackle is just incredible by this OKC defense. So there's now a flag, false start against Sam Eckenrode, the free agent signing. And they will now go ahead and move 5 yards back, which this could potentially help San Antonio a bit more with trying to get OKC a bit farther back, but at the same time it does depend on the leg of McQueen, who he will boot it way inside the 15. Whereas it is now all up as those will be stopped at the 22. As it was all up to number 12 at that point to get the stop, else it would have been a punt return touchdown. Gilligan is now under center. Hands off to Clark. Clark stiff-arming, throwing a man off. Massive lane taken down by Gatewood finally. Kasim Garvin now comes in. As we now try to go ahead and locate the phase 2 in all of this. It is quite the ways down, and I finally located it. Gilligan pitches it out to Garvin. Garvin with a lane taken down by McDonough. OKC signed 76 overall defensive end Obi Nwoy. Pray I pronounced that right. 80 overall outside linebacker Damian Mercer and 81 overall free safety Caleb Arthur. Gilligan back to pass all day and then some into triple coverage. Not advisable. It's now 3rd and 6. San Antonio, however, did not sign anybody, I do believe, from phase 2. I do believe a lot of their signings. Apologies, no, a 3:30 a.m. offer came in that day as Gilligan, oh my goodness, defenders in his face, what should have been a sack and a loss of yards turns into an incredible Houdini-type throw. Gain of 4, but not enough to get a first down. San Antonio signed 83 overall tight end Trevor Robertson, as that punt, unfortunately not good enough for OKC, so San Antonio will finally start at the 20 after 3 back-to-back-to-back. In the 10-yard punts, goodness. Of course, we'll head on down to the phase 3 here soon. Davis under center, pitch it up to Gooden. Gooden, lots of room, but swarming tacklers. Of course, you can see down the field there was Michael McCloskey, who they're trying to get more into a blocking role. However, he has been noted as getting a lot faster. Davis back to pass. All day wide open is Gooden. Oh my lord, 38 yards. Ryan Davis striping it down the middle. Ryan Davis with that wonderful visor. Ramon Gooden 10 for 59, 2 for 47. Davis back to pass. He's got a man in his face throwing into, I think that was almost quintuple coverage. A little bit too much of trust in that receiver. Might have been McCloskey over the right. It's Bronson now in the backfield. 2nd and 10. Back to pass. Davis is. He's got a man down. That's DeAndre Little. 25-yard gain. Ramon Gooden coming back in. No timeouts. Ryan Davis, 9 of 12 for 143 yards. No touchdowns. No interceptions. Gooden motion out to the left. It's going to be an empty backfield. Davis back to pass, 4-man rush. Oh, that's going to be, oh my goodness, that should have been intercepted. Had it right in your hands. That's an easy way to get cut, demoted, and or traded. So we head on down to the free agency period 2 with Davis back to pass, striping it over. Number 16, I am unaware of, but I do believe that person does exist, otherwise they wouldn't be on the field. Cedric Vaughn, their 4th string wide receiver. Davis back to pass. Another crucial down. Lamar Hamilton with the touchdown. You can definitely tell who Davis's favorite is today. 10 of 15, 156 yards. Starting to fall off a little bit from that 7 of 9. But to be completely honest, when you are in the 2-minute warning, you expect a whole lot worse. I do believe he went 2 for 5. But what can you say? It's better than going 0 for 5 like most other teams do. OKC now has a chance to show off their guns in the past game. As Jamal Edwards is taken down just ahead of the 22-yard line. A minute 20 remaining. OKC still yet to score. So Gilligan with Clark in the back, but as we know, 2-minute warning means teams must go to pass mode, and they do. Gilligan all day. McDonough just... I think he was pulling, I can't remember the name of the player right now, but there's a Boston Celtics player who will jump. He'll be about 30 feet away from the shooter. He'll jump while he's in the paint as a blocking technique, and somehow that throws players off. I think McDonough was kind of hoping that would occur, as Turner with a wonderful catch for 12 right over the middle. OKC will now call a timeout, trying not to burn too much time as they drive down the field. It's Adrian Turner, 4 for 37 on 6 targets. Gilligan back to pass, launching into triple coverage, unable to come down with it. Turner, the primary target there. San Antonio now looking to keep OKC scoreless for the first half. Would be the second time they've ever done this. Gilligan back to pass, launching it, intercepted by Kenny Gatewood. And Kenny Gatewood getting his first ever interception of the season, despite it being preseason. Ryan Davis back, 4 wide receivers, 1 tight end, empty backfield, back to pass, throwing it immediately, unable to come down with it is Boykin. I believe that his first target of the game, had a DB in front of him, was unable to come down with it. This could potentially be why sometimes when you see new quarterbacks come in, the favorite wide receiver, or the most talented wide receiver, isn't exactly their favorite target. Davis back to pass, full-on blitz, flag down, Hamilton. Sorry, Little unable to get it, but it is a holding against the offense, so it'll be 1st and 10, so that play will not count. So instead of being 0 for 2, Davis is now 0 for 1. Scooten is to the right. This will probably be a passing play. It is. He's throwing it immediately. Oh, dropped. I believe that was number 23. Of course, that would be Tyrus Lane, the cornerback for OKC. As 2nd and 10, Davis under center, Gooden in the back. They are lined up for a potential run. Would be shocking, and it is shocking because they didn't do it as Boykin finally gets his first catch, gain of 14. San Antonio will call their first ever timeout. Of course, Boykin had the man covering him blitz, so the safety had to come down, leaving enough time for Davis to just thread it right in front of him. Davis back to pass, launching into triple coverage. I believe that is DeAndre Little unable to come down with that, and that is correct. DeAndre Little, previously number 3, I believe. He was some sort of top single-digit number. Davis back to pass. He's got all day and then some into triple coverage. Cedric Vaughn unable to come down with that one. Of course, Lamar Hamilton now remains number 10. DeAndre Little, number 9. Sorry, this is the depth chart, so Lamar Hamilton stays number 11. DeAndre moves to 12. Davis launching it to the end zone. Boykin with the touchdown. Of course, an all-out safety blitz, leaving the man alone on an island. Ryan Davis now 12 for 21. Below the 60% mark, but once again, you have to look at the 2-minute warning. And if I were to talk to anyone in the league and look around the league, I'd say there would be only a couple people that could do that. Apologies about that. We had a bit of a ball hop in. Gilligan over the middle, swiped down by 2 defenders. A short return for OKC at the 15, but of course they're in a pass-heavy mode right now, so this could potentially be a bomb for 7. Gilligan back to pass, 3-man rush. They got all the DBs out there. And number 22, I believe that is a new face. That is Willie Malone Jr., new face at the free safety position, dropping the ball because he didn't even get into the lane for the interception. So, not that he physically dropped the ball, but of course, dropped the ball in the assignment. That'll be the end of the first half. San Antonio up 17-0 as we start the second half here. That'll be the second time ever San Antonio has shut out OKC in the first half. As Edwards with the return. OKC not calling a timeout for some reason on that last drive. I understand you're at the 2 or at the 15. Might as well be the 2 at that point. But you always got to try. There can always be a broken coverage. You can always score 7, maybe even, get a potential chance for some momentum to be gained here. Skilligan back to pass, just unable to rip it off. And that is AJ Pierre, number 7. Of course, we've not heard much from the rookie defensive end, number 90, BJ Black, but of course that is to be expected. A lot of rookies, it's their first time learning. 2nd and 20, hands off to Clark. Clark, nice hurdle. Number 4, of course, Malone, I'm sorry, number 10 is actually Kyrell Trotter. So number 10 is now Kyrell Trotter. Number 10 used to be Willie Malone Jr. Kyrell Trotter in at stop. Clark taken down by McDonough, gain of 5 yards. It is now 4th and 3. A lot of new faces for the San Antonio defense. That was, of course, the focus for them in free agency and, of course, in the draft. So now that we are in the bit end of a triple score lead, as OKC is going to have to score 2 touchdowns. Even regardless of the 2-point conversions, must still score a field goal. Of course, San Antonio will now go ahead and motion McCloskey onto the right. Davis hands off to Gooden. Gooden with all the pulling guards. My goodness. And that wasn't even what the design was. It was just a bunch of offensive linemen who are great at blocking the run, deciding, I know it's better. You can also see, of course, the number strategy for San Antonio as Gooden gets the easy first down, of course. During this offseason, they went ahead and adjusted their offensive linemen to be coordinated numerically with how highly touted that lineman is. So 71 all the way up to, I believe that is 79. Davis trying to get away, unable to escape, loss of 8. Tompkins on the stop, Ramon Gooden now in. Number 71 is the left tackle. Number 73, the right guard, Sam Eckenrode. Number 75, the right tackle, Caleb Shelton. And Davis with a wide open man down the right side, but he chooses to go for the sideline, and the defensive back just a bit too fast for him. And then, of course, rounding it all out, Jabal Johnson, number 77, with Curtis Swafford, number 79. Gooden unable to go anywhere, so that'll be a 3 and out for San Antonio. And like I said before, a lot of new faces on the defensive end, which we're going to now go ahead and see. BJ Black, their number 1 overall pick. You're not going to see him too much today, but Braxton Bowens, number 25, the cornerback, will be the 3rd-string cornerback today. Willie Malone Jr. moved over to free safety. Kyrell Trotter in as the starting strong safety. Reggie McKinley, the previous guard holding that position, now used more as a mentorship as DeMarcus Clark ripping off a huge run before the Terminator decides to just phase out of nowhere, stopping the play altogether. Jaden Hollins, the previous rookie from last year. I apologize. That was Braxton Bowens that I was looking at the 0. But yes, Jaden Hollins, the previous rookie from last year. Kasim Garvin is stopped by Alonzo Douglas, unable to get the first down on a 4-4 linebacker fire blitz. This could be where OKC goes ahead, pulls up the run play anyways, and gets that automatic first down they've been looking for. Clark, oh my goodness, what a play. Just fast enough to get away from Deshaun Allen. I apologize, that's BJ Black. So BJ Black with a tackle, but not enough to stop the first down as Kasim Garvin now rushing to an easy first down almost. Gain of 8, 2nd and 2. Of course, Willie Malone Jr. taking over at the free safety position. Middle linebacker and outside linebacker are all the same, but defensive tackle all the same. But defensive end, BJ Black, once again, the number 1 overall pick of the draft. As Clark now running out to the left, plowing into number 9, and of course, who else but Alonzo Douglas. DeMarcus Clark, 14 for 67, 2 receptions on 9 yards. As he will motion out Kasim Garvin. Gilligan back to pass. Lots of motion to the right. McDonough in the area. Oh my goodness. Number 57, Derek Fulks. The 2nd inside linebacker in at the play. It's Gilligan under center. Clark in the back. Gilligan back to pass. Gilligan going for the run. And McDonough not falling for that block. My goodness. And of course, we must also make note of the new uniforms worn by OKC today. Done, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but by Dino, the owner of the Portland Grizzlies. I'd like to give credit to him. And if that is not the credit, then go ahead and we'll fix that in post, obviously, and make sure the correct credit goes to the right person. However, all I know of for uniforms is Mr. Dino. So I'd like to give him his flowers. And like I said, if that is wrong, then we'll go ahead and fix that in post. And this punt, oh my goodness, this will be at the inch line. No. No, this punter's streak ended. He had a good 3-punch streak, and it promptly stopped. As Gooden now, major blocks, of course, for some reason, Gooden running into the defender anyways, after DeAndre Little set the block up. We'll go ahead and look over at this defense for OKC. Ramon Gooden almost at 100 yards. And he's under 100, and we're still in the third, which is a bit shocking when you think about how San Antonio is used to playing. This is, of course, what happens when, in, of course, all honest opinion, you move on from a player that wasn't working in your system. It's Davis now with Gooden, back to pass. I apologize, that was Bronson throwing way over the middle. Lamar Hamilton on the option route. 1st and 10. Incredible playmaking there, leading all the DBs to the back. Noticing a soft cushion, cutting out. Davis finding the receiver. It's Bronson now, taken down, no gain. It'll be a flag, so a face mask by number 55, potentially trying to stop an offensive lineman from a mauling block. But whatever happened there gave San Antonio a free 15 yards as Davis now motioning number 11 out to the left. Gooden tackled, gain of 4 yards. Of course, we must also give credit to OKC's linebacker core. Tony Pickett, the outside linebacker, but of course we've all got to talk about Mr. Thaddeus Benson. It's Jamal Johnson, the full start. The highlight of this defense for the linebackers, and of course Ethan Simoneau, 90 overall. Tristan Bullock, 89 overall, and of course Joey Visconsi leading the special teams with 85 as Gooden breaks a tackle off to the left, gain of 15. 2nd 11, more like a 2nd and 2 at the rate he runs. Head on over to the defensive line, and of course you've got Sean Westbrook. I mean, this is potentially the most stacked defensive line in terms of talent at the depth position. It's Lamar Hamilton once again, gain of 11, so another favorite target of his. And of course, Ryan Davis making all this possible with a run-blocking offense, possibly the most interesting part about all of this. As Davis motions him in to the left. Davis back to pass. Got all day. He's going to throw to McCloskey, who is just way too fast. Heading to the out of bounds. On those types of plays with how fast McCloskey is, you would really prefer to be throwing that as he's crossing your face. Of course, Davis still trying to get used to the fastest tight end in the league. And yes, you heard me right, as first down for Ramon Gooden into the third. It'll be now the 4th quarter. They'll flip sides of the field. Ramon Gooden officially hitting 100 as we enter the 4th. That has got to be the slowest he's ever gotten a 100-yard game in his career. Calabrese with the handoff, gain of 7. And a linebacker blitz, by the way. It's John Calabrese, 2 rushes, 7 yards, 2 receptions for 7 yards. This man is a man of consistency, I'll tell you that. It's Davis back to pass, 3-man rush, late blitz coming from the linebackers. Davis opting to go. Davis got some blocks, and Davis in for the rushing touchdown. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Ryan Davis has been responsible for all 3 touchdowns scored today. 2 passing, 1 rushing. Fandensteel with the kick. You got to be thinking, you're looking around, this has got to be a Saquon Barkley type of situation heading to Philadelphia going, hey, wait a minute. I thought I was the running back. I thought I was supposed to get the rushing touchdowns. But no, instead my quarterback is getting them because he's just a freak of nature. He's got great legs, got great power, and you can't stop him inside the 5-yard line. Like, my goodness. as Jamal Edwards will return for a 19 at the 19-yard line, 1st and 10. Ryan Davis surprising everyone, I think, in this preseason game. This is possibly, this might be the ceiling that San Antonio can achieve, while this might be the floor that OKC can achieve. Marquez Clark, 15 for 70. Gilligan under center. Motions the man to the inside. And there is a flag, false start against Jamal Edwards, who was motioned to the inside, 2nd and 12. Getting a bit jittery, trying to score any amount of points here. It's Gilligan under center. Clark in the back, gonna pitch it out. Clark got 2 men to beat, and he cannot. Of course, that is number 97. As we all know, Mr. Deshaun Allen, the nose tackle for San Antonio. And he actually is rumored to be getting a number change, as he is actually the heaviest defensive lineman on their roster at 315 pounds. Gilligan with a McDonough in his face. The most terrifying image you possibly have to see. That is quite literally an Aaron Donald and Geno Smith right there. I mean, I've never seen a quarterback pull the trigger so fast, so quick on a route that wasn't even finished. So the punt is away. And, of course, number 22, Willie Malone Jr. will be taking the return. Charging forward as always. 1st and 10 of the 44. And at this point, you got to be wondering if maybe perhaps they haven't used Gooden today because, as I stated before, they're trying to test out Davis, but also to really avoid any fatigue. You're going to be going from a 10-game season to an 11-game season, and already once they jumped from 8 to 10, it was a bit of a fatigue for some players like B.J. Austin. But of course, as we all know, this is a preseason game, so they'll have lots of time to rest up, but this is also the time where teams get to test some things out, as Gooden was all but a Calabrese block away. Had Calabrese just been a tad bit faster from a potential 50-plus yard touchdown. As Davis now under center, Bronson in the back. They will motion McCloskey out to the left. Hands off to Calabrese, the fullback. Gain of 3. I think Davis has quite the affinity for Mr. Calabrese, not knowing what to do with the number 1 fullback in the league. It's Davis under center. He will motion the man out to the left, and that is number 12, Mr. DeAndre Little. Davis hands off to Bronson. There's a flag. This will potentially be coming back for holding on the offense. And it will be DeAndre Little, of course, the man mentioned before the play, not allowing Bronson to get his first down. Gooden will now come in, subbing Bronson out. Bronson not having the best of days, but to be expected when you have a situation of a quarterback just thrown all over the place like he's a Mahomes or an Allen. So Davis now back to pass. Davis going to lob it to McCloskey. McCloskey trying to make a man miss, and unfortunately he just does not have that skill set yet. He's, in all technicality, he really is just a giant receiving machine, not really meant for the yak. It's Davis back under center. Gonna lob it deep left to Boykin, and that defensive back closing. I think that was a number 9 that I just seen there. And I believe that was number 8 instead. About the closest thing I can see here, that'd be Justin Shepard, 3rd string defensive back. Has McQueen with a massive punt at the 10, exactly at the 10. That is accuracy right there. That is pinpoint accuracy. Gilligan and the Tornadoes will hope to fight Gilligan, and he's tackled, fumbled, picked up by Douglas, and it's a touchdown. Oh my goodness. Wow. San Antonio, Fannin Steele for the kick, 31-0. This will be the 2nd ever game that San Antonio has had a score of 30-0 against OKC. So now, not only did the quarterback score both a passing and rushing touchdown, but the defense scored before Ramon Gooden. Quite the change of team right here. Edwards pushing forward, charging. McDonough kind of doing a happy little dance as you would up 31. At this point, San Antonio's probably going to let some other little assistants start to call some plays. A lot of teams do that normally in the NAGA. Once you get up by big, you really, oh my goodness, Turner with the Randy Moss over 3 players. Incredible. But, of course, once teams start getting up by 4 scores, they'll start letting their lesser assistants, not to say that they are lesser, but lower on the totem pole, start to call plays, design plays, pull some things up, and oh my goodness, number 15 nearly had another bomb down the field. It's Brandon Gilligan, 10 for 19, 88 yards, and an interception. 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. Thousands of people rejoice around the world for some reason. Gilligan launching. This could be a great catch, and it is by Turner once again. Trotter on the coverage, unable to stop him. Brandon Gilligan looking to put up points, and this time OKC will not be shut out. Though getting 31 dunked on your head might not exactly be the way you want to go out. As McDonough almost there. Blackman with the great catch. 4-yard gain, 2nd and 6. 3 minutes and 40 seconds remain. As Clark is in backfield, this could be an easy run to the left. Apologies, might be the right. And they will not. They will pass. And smart of them to do so as Turner gets in for the touchdown. Richie Ivy now coming in for the PAT. Guess you got to get some action there. Adrian Turner, 11 targets for 7 receptions, 111 yards, and 1 touchdown. PAT, oh my goodness, just barely etched in there. It's Gilligan now having to be happy with himself, finally scoring. Of course, it is obviously in garbage time, but I mean, I think as everyone would say themselves, it's better to put points up than to put no points up. At least during a blowout, you can try some new things like OKC did there. They did some new passing concepts deep down the middle. This might be something that they look into more often as Gooden charging forward, looking to run this clock out. There is a flag of face masks, so now they'll accept and go further down the field. Though if I was San Antonio, I would have just declined it, having gained 10 yards, but so be it. Of course, Gooden will retain his 10 yards anyways, but I would have declined it for the clock to keep running as Gooden, gain of 2 yards. Bronson still not to be seen yet on this drive, 2nd and 8. And this is the moment where San Antonio more than likely starts to run the ball out, just trying to drain the clock out, get things done and out of here. Davis actually is going to pass, but he's taken down. I think that's Westbrook, and it is Sean Westbrook making his appearance for a sack today. Trying to make up for that earlier face mask that I believe potentially led to a score, or that might have been in the first half where they didn't really score anything. Calabrese loading a block up, gain of 12. Gooden just 4 yards shy of a first down. Bronson will now come in, and San Antonio, of course, will let this drain all the way to 2. As Gooden now comes in for protection. Of course, Bronson trying to call the play right before he gets subbed out. There's a lot of characters around here in the league try to have fun while they can. And McQueen, oh, this is not going to be enough. Just a little bit to the left. Had he just angled it a bit more to the right, that would have been another inch-yard punt. But that's okay. Preseason is all about trying out new things. Gilligan, oh my goodness, hit by his own running back into quadruple coverage. McDonough, like 7 feet to the left of that pass. That was quite interesting. Of course, I'm saying left from his point of view. From our point of view, it's to the right, but, you know. 2nd and 10, a minute 52 remaining. Gilligan back to pass, going to launch it deep over. Oh my goodness, Trotter with the swat down. Interesting that Trotter was somehow further back or closer to the play than he was at his starting position, but who am I to say how a defensive back plays their position? Gain of 5 yards. I mean, they're doing quite a wonderful job. I'd say 31-7 has got to be quite the Band-Aid ripoff for some of these safeties with their butterfly nervousness. Putting on that new uniform, trying to keep up to the legacy that they're inheriting. And, of course, this now will be a turnover. So Gooden in the backfield. This could be a one-and-done clock control, but Gooden probably looking for that touchdown. He's gone all day without a touchdown. Gain of 3, that'll be a timeout. Of course, knowing how these players are, Gooden doesn't really care for touchdowns. It's more about winning a championship. So, at least Davis has that bright side to look at. No divas on this team, and Gooden sheds off a man before he's taken down by number 20. Lisenby. I believe that is 20 or is that 28? The text selection does look a bit unique. We'll get some updates from E. Real time, Gooden, unfortunate. That was his one shot to get the touchdown. It'll now be clock control. San Antonio will wrap up, walk down here, 31-7. Defensive touchdown. 3 touchdowns by Mr. Ryan Davis. What a debut for him. OKC, lots of things to look in the mirror about, but don't be worried. With that D-line, that linebacker core, lots of wins are headed your way. San Antonio looking very dominant in the preseason, but the question is how much of this is due to the opponent and their scheme? Not so much that the opponent is bad, but the scheme. Does it fit what San Antonio is trying to expose? And, of course, how much does it matter about it being preseason? San Antonio take more chances than normal. Ryan Davis, of course, the game MVP with Alonzo Douglas on the defensive side. 1 touchdown, 1 TFL, 8 tackles. Ryan Davis, 16 for 27, 250 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. Going to head on over to the stats. Ryan Davis, Brandon Gilligan, 14-26, 145, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Looking at Turner as the offensive MVP, 7 for 111, 1 touchdown. Almost at 100 touchdowns, which that would have been incredible. Mr. Benson, 2 TFLs, 14 tackles, 1 pass deflection. Of course, you can see San Antonio really getting their stride as they were in the second half. 14 points late, but of course, as you know, the third quarter's the grind to get into the fourth quarter. So we can take a look at all these stats. Calabrese actually finishing ahead of Bronson as Gooden finishes with over 150 yards. So despite taking 4 quarters to get to 100 yards, he still wrapped up 50 yards in 1 quarter. It's usually the Gooden that we all know. Total plays, of course, San Antonio 69. Nice. Rush plays and pass plays were actually very even despite the very heavy passing concepts to begin the first half. Of course, that is what happens when you're up by triple scores. So at that point, you might as well start running the ball a bit more. Go ahead and see the OKC scores all here today. Defensively, of course, we can look at the tackles going on over here. We can look at the sacks. Of course, Westbrook, Tompkins, and Bullock, so 3 sacks. To be noted, San Antonio is not a very pass protection savvy team, so this defensive line and linebacker core and the defensive back that was involved are definitely getting some of their licks in. Kick return yards, look at the kicking. 1 for 1 on extra points made and attempted. 7 punts, 1 in the 20, 2 in the touchback. Of course, I'd say he had about 3 or 4, so might not exactly be the greatest mark. San Antonio, Ryan Davis, the 109 rating, a near 60% completion rate. But, of course, for both quarterbacks, you got to remember what they did during the 2-minute warning. And, of course, we got to go back and got to make sure 215, 2 touchdowns, averaging 13.4 attempt, long of 45, which was the first completed pass he had all game. Ramon Gooden averaging 6.1, Calabrese averaging 3.3, and Bronson 3 for 6, not exactly the biggest day he had. And Davis, despite rushing for a touchdown, he finished with -1 yards and a touchdown. So that stat line needs to be pinned and going into the Hall of Fame. What a total to finish with. Samar Hamilton actually leading the team. I believe that is the first time he has ever done that, receptions and yards. Technically, he leads in touchdowns, but they'll tie with Boykin, as Gooden is the second receiver, Boykin third, Little the fourth. So that is quite the offensive distance for San Antonio from what they used to do. McDonough, of course, being a serial killer at the linebacker position, not like Aaron Hernandez, I promise you. A.J. Pierre. B.J. Black got a sack. Incredible. I must have missed that. I must have called the wrong name, and I apologize about that. I believe he might have gotten the sack during a transitionary period. Interception from Gatewood, TFL. McDonough leads. Touchdowns, of course. Alonzo Douglas. Deflected passes. Kyrell Trotter with the new introduction, getting some deflected passes already. Forced fumble by B.J. Black, the new rookie. So he's making his name known. And Alonzo Douglas. William Malone Jr., of course. Got the kick returns over here. Kicking, of course. Field goal 1, extra points 4. Punts, Zach McQueen, 6 punts, 2 inside. 1 touchback. That was, of course, the lone one that just barely didn't get inside. Of course, that's all the stats here. So we thank you all. We are excited to see you guys during the regular season. We're excited to see how all these teams pan out, how they move on from these preseason games, how they adjust, how their playbooks change, and I'm very excited. I'm Cole. Hope you guys all enjoyed this off-season preseason. We'll see you all next time. Later.